When you think of world-changing military history, you probably think of tactical geniuses. Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Genghis Khan, guys who played 4D chess while everyone else was playing checkers. But today, we aren't talking about them. Today, we are looking at the tactical absolute disasters. The historical military operations where commanders woke up, looked in the mirror and said, yeah, let's do the stupidest thing humanly possible. We're talking about defeats so incredibly humiliating, so filled with bad juju, that they didn't just lose the war, they literally shifted the entire geopolitical landscape of the planet. Uh-oh, we're already 30 seconds in and nobody has accidentally blown themselves up yet. Let's fix that. Our first stop takes us to ancient Egypt, around 525 BC. The Egyptian empire was thriving, beautiful, and deeply, deeply obsessed with cats. To the Egyptians, harming a cat wasn't just a crime, it was an express ticket to getting your soul deleted by the gods. Enter Cambyses II, the king of the massive and girthy Persian Empire. He wanted to conquer Egypt, but the Egyptians had a massive fortress at the city of Pelusium. A direct assault meant thousands of Persians going cowboy against the walls. So Cambyses did some deep dive research into Egyptian culture and realized they had a massive vulnerability: supreme, crippling empathy for fluffy animals.
Sire, the Egyptian walls are too high. How do we breach them?
Hear me out. Go to the local shelter, grab every cat, dog, and sheep you can find, and get some super glue.
Before the battle, Cambyses literally had his frontline soldiers paint images of Bastet, the cat goddess, onto their shields. But he didn't stop there. According to the ancient historian Polyaenus, the Persians pinned actual live cats to their breastplates and carried them into the front lines like tactical furry shields. When the Egyptian archers looked over the battlefield to aim, they didn't see an invading army. They saw a wall of meowing gods. Fearing that a stray arrow might clip a kitten, the Egyptians refused to shoot. The Persians just casually walked up, slapped them silly, and conquered the entire country. And just like that, because of an army of literal copycats, the centuries-old sovereignty of Pharaoh-ruled Egypt was completely cooked. Egypt became a Persian province, altering the balance of power in the Mediterranean forever. But hey, at least the cats were safe. Next, let's fast forward to 1788 in Europe. The Austrian Empire is at war with the Ottoman Empire. Emperor Joseph II rolls up to the town of CrownAncestors with an army of roughly 100,000 men. The goal was to stop the Turks, but the result? The Austrian army managed to completely defeat the Austrian army without the Ottomans even showing up. It all started when a vanguard of Austrian hussars crossed a river to scout for the enemy. They didn't find any Turks, but they did find a group of local travelers selling schnapps.
Are those Ottomans over there?
Schnapps.
I'm sorry?
There is schnapps.
The Ottomans can wait.
Naturally, they bought all of it and got absolutely plastered. Soon after, a bunch of Austrian infantrymen crossed the river, saw the party, and demanded a share of the booze. The hussars refused, and a fistfight broke out. To scare the infantry away, one drunk hussar fired a shot in the dark. Now, you have to understand, the Austrian army was made of recruits from 5 different countries who didn't speak the same language. When the officer started yelling, "Halt, halt," to restore order, the non-German speaking soldiers thought they were shouting, "Allah, Allah." Absolute, unadulterated panic set in. Troops started firing blindly into the dark at their own shadows. A commander, thinking the camp was being overrun, ordered the artillery to open fire on their own troops. 100,000 men started hacking and slashing each other in a massive alcohol-fueled box of PTSD. Emperor Joseph II literally got pushed off his horse into a muddy ditch. 2 days later, the actual Ottoman army arrived. They expected a massive battle. Instead, they found 10,000 dead or wounded Austrians scattered across the field and a completely empty town. The Ottomans basically walked into a free win, expanding their grip on the Balkans for decades. This is real. I need you to understand that everything I am about to tell you is completely, verifiably real. After World War I, Australian veterans were given land in Western Australia to farm, a generous gesture from a grateful government. What the government did not mention was the 20,000 emus that were also planning to use that land. The massive, aggressive, and apparently bulletproof birds were stampeding through wheat crops and destroying everything in sight. The farmers lobbied the government. The government, in its infinite wisdom, decided the appropriate response was to deploy the military. Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery was dispatched with 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition.
Sir, what exactly are we fighting?
Birds.
I'm sorry, sir.
Large ones. Get the gun?
The campaign began on November 2nd, 1932. It went poorly immediately. Emus, as it turns out, are horrifyingly difficult to kill. Their feathers deflected bullets. Their small brains meant they could absorb multiple rounds and keep running. The moment soldiers opened fire, the emus scattered into smaller groups, making mass shooting geometrically impossible. One of the Lewis guns jammed, repeatedly. After 10 days of increasingly humiliating combat, Major Meredith filed his report. He wrote, and I quote directly, that if his soldiers had the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, they could face any army in the world. Meredith was comparing emus to tanks. The operation was called off and reported in the press. Australia had lost a war against birds. A second campaign was attempted in 1948, but only to find the same result. The emus are broadly considered to have won and are still out there. The embarrassment, however, produced genuine policy change. Australia completely overhauled its agricultural pest management and subsidy programs, developing frameworks still referenced in wildlife policy today. Also, Major Meredith went home and presumably never spoke of this again. Like and subscribe, or next time, I'm bringing the cats.